Will we hopefully complete the entire class material by the end of this month?
So I'm not sure, when did you come? Where were we up to at the time?
I came, last class?
When did you start this class from?
About September.
September, so we started from the beginning then.
Yeah.
Because the basics of it, there are two parts. The very first part is going through what we believe in, why, the whole oral tradition, the system of halacha. We completed all of that. The second part is going through different areas of Torah.
Hi.
Welcome.
So great, thank you.
Different areas of Torah and understand the philosophy behind them. So that there's nothing set there. That whatever goes. So you've covered the curriculum, but the second half of it, sometimes we do more, sometimes we do less.
Understood. And then second quick question, do you have an English edition that you recommend for Rambam Guide for the Perplexed?
The Guide for the Perplexed is the one that I can recommend in English. I don't know. I've never read it in English. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know what's available. There was the old one. It was the old one. The English was archaic. The English was as complicated as the Hebrew. I know what I would recommend. And it's got to be a translation that, with not just translating the words. You've got to know the philosophical background. He's dealing with a lot of stuff. Where if you don't know what he was up against, you don't know what he's trying to, what he's really addressing. Yes. Yes, it does. What did we start last time?
We spoke about man-to-man commandments. We ended with Rav Salanter, begin by caring for others. How there's two similar mitzvot,
right.
different.
So last time we spoke about the two different commandments with regard to helping one another. One is V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your friend, literally. The New Testament has it, your neighbor, so that's why it became that's where it's usually phrased. And the other one is V'alachta b'drachav, which is being like Hashem. And the difference is where it's coming from. We help one another, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, because we care about one another. We have to learn to love every Jew. A second thing is that we help one another because of ourselves, meaning we want to be giving people the same way God is so that we can connect to Him. That was the basic underlying principle. Rambam does something very interesting. When he defines the mitzvah of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your friend like yourself, the Rambam says, be careful not to hurt him. Not to hurt him physically, emotionally, financially. When you speak about him, don't speak about him negatively, speak about him favorably. Be sensitive, not to cause him any harm. The Rambam does not mention doing anything positive for him. When he first defines the commandment, he does not mention the idea of chesed, of doing things to help one another. Rambam leaves that out under the mitzvah of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Later, towards the end of Rambam, he lists off all the different forms of doing chesed. Visiting the sick, escorting the bride and bridegroom to the chuppah, burying the dead, consoling the mourner, hosting the stranger. And Rama mentions there, they are all a fulfillment of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Which means Rama is saying, this commandment does not require it, but when you do it, it's a fulfillment of the commandment. What requires it? Oh, that's rabbinical. What is the Rambam doing here? Why is it that the commandment of V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha requires you to be sensitive not to hurt somebody? It does not require that you do anything positive to help him, but when you do something positive to help him, it is a fulfillment of that commandment. How does that work? It's not required, it's a fulfillment. Where did the Rambam get that? So those are the commentaries who explain. It's very important. When you're dealing with being sensitive to not hurt another human being, you're not giving up something of yours. You're just being very sensitive not to hurt it. That's it. In helping someone, it always comes at an expense to you. That's you. There's always something, whether it's financial, there's physical exertion, there's time. So that's a judgment call. There's no question that you don't spend as much time to help other people financially as you do yourself for your own family. Imagine everyone will go to work to support everybody. That's more like socialism. No, it's understood. Your first responsibility is your family. You then help people based on what you can afford. To say that the Torah requires that you do for everybody, that you do chesed, that you take care of the needs of everybody, as a requirement, is an accurate statement because it really depends on the circumstances. It depends on the expense to you and whether or not you can afford it. In fact, we find that there's a prohibition in the Torah. Efes ki lo yeh b'cha'ev yom. Literally translated is, there shall absolutely not be a poor man amongst you. The rabbis translate that to mean, don't make yourself poor. Don't live irresponsibly. Included in that is don't overdo it when you're helping others. Don't make yourself poor in the process of helping other people. The poverty being discussed is not limited to financial poverty. Good old social workers burnout, familiar with that one? Where people give of themselves to others till they themselves become basket cases. The Torah doesn't allow this. The Torah says you're supposed to give and give and give, but not to the point that you're jeopardizing your own family security, not to the point that you're giving too much of yourself and you're going to become needy in one way or another. So when the Torah says, love thy neighbor as thyself, it couldn't mean that you have to be actively involved in the lives of everybody the same way you are in your own. You have to see what you can afford, time-wise, energy-wise, financially, and give them what you can. Whereas, if it's a matter of not hurting somebody, then you have to go to an extreme. There is just no justification for hurting another Jew. No exception. Oh, it comes at expense to me, because I feel like insulting. Good for you. Control yourself. You have to learn to love people, not want to insult them. So this is the rule. In helping others, yes, we're supposed to be there for people. But you always have to measure the expense. Can I afford to do this? What is this going to do to me? Physically, financially, and emotionally. Yeah.
Rabbi, for example, if I'm making a project or helping someone, can I sometimes, for example, I didn't raise money. And I have, like, say I have the munah, I'm gonna put my money, and I'm gonna, like, after see what's happened and with my money, or I don't have to put my money.
Only if you can afford to. Be very careful. Supporting your own organization is dangerous. Because you lose all sense of your own needs for security. You know, it sort of becomes, you become the organization. So let's talk about practical situations. Should you be hosting the homeless? And people are homeless, and they would certainly welcome a home. It's so important to them. But then you may find yourself without a home. You've got to know what you can handle. You've got to know what your family can handle. There are homes where everyone just loves having guests. There are families where it just doesn't go over so well. You don't have the right to impose this on your family. Your first responsibility is to your family. On the other hand, you do want to educate your kids in the beauty of being there for others. It may depend who. You got to know your family, what they can put up with. It's the same with supporting people. You've got to make sure that you're not being irresponsible by giving too much. The rabbis, we are taught, made a rule. An upper limit, you should never be giving more than 20% of your assets. If you're an average income earner. Unless you're extremely wealthy, the assumption is that giving 20% of your assets is a ceiling. Past that point, you're kidding yourself. You're being irresponsible. You're just not thinking. Why they made that? They made that as a rabbinical ordinance because Jews were giving too much. People were giving too much tzedakah. So the rabbis had to make a ceiling of 20% because people were giving too much, and then because they were irresponsible, it affected their families. So the rabbis had to go with this Jewish thing. The rabbis had to make an ordinance because people were giving too much. There are many interesting situations that come up. I'll share with you something that happened just, I was asked this question a couple of days ago. The neighborhood I live in, there's a real housing shortage. And prices for buying are just up in the sky, and even rents are quite high. And with all of that, it's difficult to find an apartment. Forget about buying, just to rent. So we have a family there, family with a couple of kids, living in a real cramped space. The kids sleep on mattresses in the living room. They have been trying now for some time to find a larger apartment that they can afford just to rent. Well, they found one. Found one. Price was relatively low. The size was good. Then they found out that one of the people that lived nearby, their mother, who's a widow, is looking for a place to rent so that she can be near her grandchildren. This apartment would be great for her. So they came to me and asked, is the right thing to give it up for her? She's a widow. So she can be near her grandchildren rather than take it for themselves. What do you think?
Our livelihood first.
What?
Your own livelihood first.
They're willing to give it up?
The situation is a lot worse than hers. It's by herself, they're a full family. Like they should think for themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I told them was that they do not have the right to deprive their children of a normal sized apartment because they want to favor this widow. Why are they favoring a strange widow over their own children? Their children are living in cramped quarters. It's unfair. It's unfair. They have a responsibility for their children that comes before their responsibility for everybody else. That wasn't the answer they wanted to hear. They thought it would be so great if they acquiesced. But it's great. Only Jews are like that, no? Yeah.
At what point does it become too much that like you're putting yourself and your family first with other people? Like, does one have an obligation to at least like do something to help other people, or?
Oh, you must help other people. You must help other people, and you must get your kids into helping other people also. Just when you're dealing with a situation where your family is really needy because you're short in space, it is not right to make your family suffer, in favor of some strange widow.
Like for example, like let's say your family or whatever needs a lot of chesed and help, and like they spend a lot of time with their family. Is it right to go and like do chesed for someone else, or even a little bit if your whole family or whatever needs that help? Like, meaning, is it just the justification to help your family 100% of the time, if that's what?
Not 100% of the time. But here you're talking about where they're living quarters. They're suffering. You don't have the right to ignore their suffering in favor of a strange widow. Unless, that they all get together and say, yeah, well, we're ready to do this. When they're old enough to understand, they're not going to want to do this. See, it's so much part of the Jewish personality to give, but for some strange reason, we seem to like glamorize helping strangers over caring for our own. Your first responsibility of helping is your own family, your own kids, your wife, your children. You know, there's also true at work. You feel bad for someone who is not producing, will probably get fired. You're allowed to make sacrifices, not at the expense of your family. Hosting. I mentioned before the homeless, which is hosting. Always having guests. It's such a Jewish thing. Some kids love it, some kids hate it. You gotta figure out what's good for your kids.
What about, for example, I can host people. And for example, the people I wanna host. For example, we have different ashkafa, or I think like could be like they can put a idea can change
You're
the
afraid-
mentality of my.
You're afraid that they're gonna ruin your children?
Yeah.
Listen, it could be a concern. I would hope that people behave in your home. They should at least respect that they're not going to scorn what you're doing in your own house. When people have guests, I always say the Shabbos table, the first part of the table should be concentrating on the kids. Even though you have lots of guests, take care of the kids. After a while, they lose patience and they go off and play. Now you can talk about it. Now you can spend time with your guests. Would your kids come first? Your kids should come first. You have a greater responsibility to them. Okay.